Well, since my pallets didn't work out, I have to turn to other means to create that sort of weathered, old, distressed look to the tabletop for our console. So, as you know, I've purchased a bunch of wood from the store, I've cut it up into pieces, and it's time to distress it. Actually, I've kind of already distressed most of this, but I thought I would go back and show you on a couple other pieces what I did. First of all, what I did was I actually picked pieces that I could that looked imperfect. Like this one already has a bunch of knots in it, you can see, and others had little marks and maybe were uneven or had some cracks. But the first thing I'm going to do to them is, you can see I've started here, is I'm actually just going to sand the edges of them, because you can see this edge is very sharp and crisp and doesn't look like it's been worn down at all. So I've got my little palm sander here, and I'm just going to go at it. Okay, so now you can kind of see that the edges are a bit more rounded and smooth, so the board is already starting to look like it's been weathered down over time. You can notice I'm wearing my college weatherman shirt from my improv troupe in honor of the weathering of the wood I'm doing. The next step for these is sort of to do some things to bang it up a little bit. There's not really any right or wrong way to do this, I'm discovering, which is the fun thing. But one thing I've been doing to each piece of wood is this very technical bag full of screws trick. Some people bang it, some people just drop it. I've been doing a mixture of the two because I've actually gone through a couple bags. So basically just do this. And you can drop it or throw it. But what you're doing is just banging up the top of the wood a little bit, giving some dents to it, sort of in a random pattern. Oh, you can see I'm already breaking this bag. But see, what you're getting here are these little dings and nicks that make it look like it's gone through harder times than it's actually gone through. There wasn't just a guy in a basement hitting it with a bag of screws. So I've been doing this to each of the pieces of wood to get sort of a consistency across the board. But some pieces, like this one, since it's already got these knots in it and everything, I probably won't do much else to, except go over one last time across the top to sand it, just to make sure everything's smooth and even. So this is a new piece of wood. I'm not actually going to use it in the project, it's just an extra, but I thought I would use it to show you some of the other things I've been doing to sort of beat up these pieces of wood. I've got just some random tools that either I brought downstairs, like a hammer and screwdriver, and some stuff I just found here in the basement left by the previous owner, like this hook with a big threaded screw on it, a little other hook that I'm going to use as a punch. And let me just show you what I was doing. So I'm going to start with a hammer. Basically, I've just been hitting it. This board has already been sanded down. I already did the bag of screws on it, so it's got that consistent distressing that I've got on everything. But I've been taking some of the boards and just like going crazy in one spot. Not too much, but you know, enough to give it sort of that, oh gosh, something happened here look. Another thing I like with the hammer is actually hanging or hitting the edges. Because it really creates a look, especially when you do it sort of in one spot, like something rested right across this piece of the wood. The hammer's also been helpful for other things, like using it with combined with this as a punch. I noticed on the pallets when I was working with them that there were a lot of nail holes in them, and I don't want to actually nail this piece of wood. So instead what I've been doing is putting this end down. You could also use a true nail punch if you wanted, and just hitting it in a few spots, which gives me fake nail holes without actually going through the piece of wood. This thing has also come in handy by laying it on its side and hammering it like this. I'm going to do 2 lines and then a third across. And see what it's done there is I got these little stripes that look like something rested against it at one time in this board's lifetime. Another thing I've been using is one of these paint can openers that you get from Lowe's or Home Depot when you buy paint. And since this wood is so soft, you literally can just drag it across with some force and make an indentation in the wood. And see. You can see those right there. It took almost no effort to do. Another thing I've been using to drag across is this hook that has a really coarse thread on the end. And this I've been going across like this and really roughing up the wood against the grain. Now, right now it's really rough and splintery, but once I sand it a little bit, down boy, it's smooth to the touch, but I still get these nice little dings in the wood. Looks like something, like it almost started to rot right there. The nice thing about these is also, once we go back to stain the piece, I'm hoping that all these grooves and indentation will catch some of the stain a little bit more, and so they'll be accentuated, and you'll see them more than you do in just this sort of plain bare wood. The other thing we're going to do with the stain when it comes time for that is we're going to vary the stain from board to board by doing one coat on some, two on others, and also even on one board itself we might vary it a little bit, because I noticed on the pallets that was one thing that made them really look old, was the discoloration across the boards. Plus, once we start to then tile all the boards next to each other, if we put a darker one next to a lighter one, the whole piece will really have a nice variation to the whole thing. So, that's a little bit of what I've been doing. I just have to go back and sand all of these 24 boards left over, and then I will be ready to stain.